Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Ark4Verse update call, and also for people that wanted to ask questions after our initial call on Saturday. This will be a weekly call. Basically, we didn't repost the Zoom link after Sean informed me that he'll be on the road at this time. Sean, schedule your driving for another time next week on Tuesday, please. Um, if Nalani or Christina, if you got any questions for Tag, even you, if you got any questions that you want us to speak about, I see there's Philippa on. Is there anything that we maybe missed on Saturday? What we can basically say is we're not rushing anything. The initial shares will go out. There is still some documentation needed for the South Africans. Two South Africans that opt to use USDT. They feared that they may miss out. As usual, you get people. Philippa, I'm talking about you. They were scared they're going to miss out. But anyway, they're
Thanks.
sorted now. They are sorted. But for the rest of the South African who wants to use fiat currency, we will be sorted over the jot form very soon. John, anything from your side?
Yes, quite right, quite right. So the reason so if anyone has not noticed yet, we have a rand value and we have a USDT dollar value form as well. And there's a price difference between the two, and the price difference is actually quite large, especially if you're looking at it from a rand value. So the dollar forms are $27. The reason for that price difference is that if we're acquiring funding through USDT and it's going through cross-border payments, we're basically giving ourselves a kind of a margin in case we encounter that exchange control or SARS once a piece of that money. So that's why we've introduced that as a buffer. It's not to say that you need to pay more just for paying with USDT. If we have no problems with it, then we can either award the additional shares for the price difference or refund the difference. Okay, so I thought that was point number one. That's something that we obviously have picked up. We are balancing so far really well with what has been bought and whose shares belong to who. However, we have one transaction where we've received USDT and we don't know who it's from. We've actually contacted everyone that we know who had bought. So this one person in particular, we've got a small amount of, we've got a few shares unallocated. So in the event that if we have any kind of money in either even in the bank account or in the USDT wallet if we don't know where it came from, we basically have to send it back or leave it there. But we're not going to touch that. We can't use that money as part of our bookkeeping. Okay, so obviously that's why the JOT form is really important, is to have that paper trail. Otherwise, we could run into trouble with. There are obviously regulations around anti-money laundering. So if we have any amounts of money which are unannounced and it could amount to a lot over time, that's why we're doing this way, that we have to have the paper trail. However, this is an AMA session. Welcome everybody who joined. Philippa, nice to see you. Excalibur, one of my dad's favorite things. Nice to see you. Would you guys like to have a chat, open up and say anything or ask anything? This is an AMA session, so it's just a very open floor.
No, I'm all good, thanks. Philippa here.
There you go. Hi, Philippa.
Hi, Sean.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance well, we've got a privacy policy. So, I would normally be very excited to tell other people about connections that we've made, especially that have, completed JOT forms and things. But if you noticed, our privacy policy is quite strict. So if somebody has bought shares, I literally can't go into the group and say who it was that bought them unless they have given some kind of express consent. So that kind of protection of information is very very valid until we give that information over to CIPC. So you know what I mean? Yeah, very, very, very vast and very interesting landscape that we're traversing right now in the fundraising.
Philippa, no questions from your side?
No, thanks. No.
Okay.
I'm just sitting back and listening for the moment and looking forward to learning.
Good. I've got you now on a recording, so you cannot ask me 27 questions tonight about Ark4Verse.
Oh, okay.
Ah, you see how I cover myself so that I have more time to work instead of answering all your 200 questions every day. For the ones that don't know, Philippa is the person, mind you, there's two on here. Christina is also on. She's one of the persons using most of my time every day. Two of the three guilty parties is on here. But now you've got a chance to ask your questions on a Zoom call. So I am covered for today with questions. Excalibur, who are you? I see you were unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, how's it, Stefan, and how's it, Sean, and everybody on the group? It's George. George is my name. Stefan, we've
Hi, George.
chatted basically on I've sent you some chats on the Telegram, and you've chatted with me, so
Telegram, yeah.
thank you. Yes.
Yeah, but I still
So
don't
I was
know what's your name because it
It's
says
George.
Excalibur on Telegram as well, if I remember correctly.
Yes, correct. Yes, yeah. I just do that, because there's just so many scammers on Telegram groups, and it's crazy. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't use my real name on Telegram unless I get to know
Yeah,
people like with you guys, and then I share
it's
stuff.
sometimes safer to keep your name. I've just seen a thing. I know I'm crashing, but on security on Telegram,
Yes.
which I actually posted. When you get a hello, you say hi, and then they're going to tell you that they're from Johannesburg, but currently operating
Yeah.
from Florida, or they from Cape Town, they're currently operating from London. And then your next response is, can we get straight to the scam, please? I'm pretty busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to start
Oh
using
yes,
that one. Yeah, it's unfortunately we're
absolutely.
trying to keep our groups as safe as possible.
Yeah.
We've
No, I
got
must
some
say your
groups
group.
where
Yeah,
Mhm.
your groups are pretty good, Stefan. You keep. You know what? It's because you got a strict policy, which is great. You have to.
Mm,
And some people might complain about it and not like it, but I mean that's just how it's got to be.
yeah, I've been attacked quite a few times from a dizzy height about throwing people out of groups. But if you
Yeah.
misbehave, there was one person who actually used a few nasty names in response to a woman that said something. I didn't even contact him. He phoned me afterwards. I said, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
And by that time, I've thrown him out of 27 groups that he was on,
Wow.
just because of one stupid remark. Then he claimed that it wasn't him. I said, sorry, young man, that's you out of here. Yeah, our group will be safe. The procedure, just quickly for the people that now the first time on a Ark4Verse call, we will allocate admins in the groups, and sometimes we will close a group for comments. For there may be various reasons. We may want to announce something and we don't want clutter before the announcement. And then Sean or who else is admins on here? Festina, Fatag is an admin, Nalani, I think who else? There's quite a few that we made admins so that we can keep order in the groups. If you do get harassed from our group, somebody in the group, when you open up their profile, go check in with what other groups are they. If Ark4Verse is the only group, then we know it comes from there, and we will immediately ban him or banish him on a 7-week holiday to hell so that he can burn a little bit. Any other questions at this stage? Then, if
Not
not,
really.
then we're going to
Well,
close.
Oh, it's yeah, Sean here again.
Mhm.
Yeah, Stefan, thank you for facilitating the groups. Yeah, Excalibur, it's very important to have to have some hard personalities alongside the project. Lacking that, if you open something like this to a wide audience, you could have any number of people creating side by side jot forms and collecting people's money, which do not belong to us or do not belong to the project. So as you can see, we're actually keeping it very small and very quiet because we do have very large connections. And we don't have all of the frameworks and all of the people trained in place to handle that kind of influx. So make an example. If we go and approach just 2 of our Facebook groups, then that's going to reach 700,000 people. And that's being posted by the owners of those groups. So that's going to be featured content on public channels. And, do we have everything in place? Do we have our initial quotas? Do we have our BPO set up? And things like that. So that's why we're very relaxed right now. It's actually it's very chilled at the moment. People are buying their shares. We have one countdown timer on one of our old websites, and that's the only public exposure Ark4Verse has right now. Yeah, so you'll notice that we're doing things very slowly with baby steps, while we do the fundraise, while we reach the first goal and then the second goal. After the second goal, then I think the relaxation time is absolutely over, because we've got Stefan. I think I've shown Stefan a screenshot of the P2B exchange, La Token exchange, or LA token or La Token. And these listing managers are hounding us to release tokens and NFTs that they can circulate. So we're literally having to say, stop, wait, we're not ready. Stop, wait, wait. It's a very funny situation. A lot of projects will be super happy to list something just so that they can get, hype money coming into projects. And that's kind of not where we're at. We want all of our structures in place: financial partner, legal partner, and even the patent office from Stellenbosch University. So we want all of that tied together before we go massive, or even before we go any hype. So hopefully that explains a lot about the quiet, the relaxed environment in the group we have, which, as you can see, we're not populating it as quickly as possible. For that reason, we want our people to have a good, fair chance of getting in first. Yeah, and so I know there's a couple of people on the call who are shareholders, a few shareholders. So thank you guys for where we are today, and for what's possible because of it. Does anybody have any questions for myself or for the team? Fatah, I have a question for you. Is your name? You probably can't see your background, but I think you need to update that background. I think your name is name and surname.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we've got some really important meetings coming up, and Nalani, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, guys, Nalani's doing some phenomenal work with connections, that she's always bringing to the table, and some of them we can approach now, some of them we can approach later, because of their caliber. So because of the caliber, some of them are, or one of them she highlighted to me is friends with Oprah. Someone of that caliber won't talk to a startup quite yet, but until we have something, something about to go to market, then they listen. And one of Oprah's friends from years ago is Rabu Gary, who we also will be taking this to. So if you follow anything about those groups, UIGI, they're massive, and they were the group behind the massive launch of Daisy, which managed to reach over 60,000 signups in the first couple of days. All right, so just to let you know, yeah, there are pretty big plans, but we need to be ready for them as we move. That's it from my side, I think, unless there are any more questions that I could possibly answer. And also, I'm sorry, one last thing is I did highlight to Stefan that I was on the road today. So Stefan decided not to iterate on today's AMA session, until I was perhaps in the office environment again. So thank you for that, Stefan. Very, very thoughtful of you. And that's why we have a very small AMA today.
Yeah, we'll adjust the calls as we need to. That is the effect of one post shortly before a call on Telegram. Is if you post it, then there's more people on. If you announce it a week before the time, or even if people are not used to the time frame or the time schedule yet, then we're gonna keep it small. But let's see how it grows. Thank you, everybody, then for being on. We will have the next call then what is today's Tuesday? I missed today somewhere. Tuesday at 4. We may adjust as if there is a need. Recording will be up in the group for the people that's not been on here. And then have a good week. Most of the people here, I will see you at 8:30 tonight. Have a good afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Philippa. Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Christina. Bye, George. Bye, Fatag. Bye, Son.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, Nandani.
Bye,
Right,
Stefan.
there we go.